Device is going. And I'll mute everybody on Zoom. So again, thank you for joining us. We'll unmute again when we're done, just so that we can say our goodbyes for the day. But I am going to go ahead and mute, and then we'll get started. And if you're joining us on Facebook, thank you for joining us. I'm going to back up so you can see me on the mat. All right. And again, thank you everybody for joining us this morning for Pilates. So glad to have you all here and to be able to do this. So we'll go ahead and get started. Find a comfortable seated position, whatever that looks and feels like to you this morning. Just try to sit up nice and tall, stacking your shoulders over your hips. And we'll start with a couple of nice deep breaths in through your nose and out through your mouth. And as you breathe in nice and deep, I want you to feel your chest opening, your rib cage expanding, your collarbones opening out. And relax your shoulders. And then bring your right hand high up on your rib cage. Let your left hand fall heavy to the floor behind you. And we bring right ear to right shoulder for a couple of nice deep breaths. And with that left hand falling heavy behind you, you should feel a little bit of a pull on that left side in your neck, just above your shoulders. And that's where we want to stretch through this. That area of our neck where we all hold tension from stress, from driving, from working on a computer. And back to center. And switch sides. Left hand up, right hand heavy to the floor behind you, and then right hand, or left ear to left shoulder. Again, that right hand is heavy behind you. And with each deep breath in, you feel a nice pull. And come back to center. On your next inhale, reach up long with your right hand. And then exhale, left hand to right knee and twist. Inhale to reach. Nice long stretch through that right side. And exhale, twist. So as you continue this, I'll tell you that we do a lot of things in Pilates on a breath. So I'll say inhale one movement, exhale another. It's your breath, not mine. So never feel like you need to speed up or slow down your breathing to match mine. You go at your pace. As long as you're breathing, just don't hold your breath. Last one this way. Coming back to center, and we switch sides. Inhale, reach up with the left. And exhale, twist, right hand to left knee. Be a nice spinal twist. And again, inhale, reach. And exhale, twist. And last one, nice long reach with that left hand. And exhale, twist. And then I'm going to turn on my mat. So I'm lengthwise on the mat. And starting with feet out, mat width apart. So sit up nice and tall. Leg muscles are active and press down onto the mat. Ankles flex, toes pointed back towards you. And inhale, reach hands up to shoulder height. And on your exhale, reach out past opposite little toe. Inhale up tall. And exhale out past opposite side. So inhale as you're sitting up, fill up with air nice and tall, and then exhale. Let the blowing out of that air help you to reach forward. One more each side. Come back to center, and I'm going to bring my feet together in the center of the mat. And then point toes away. So my legs are still active, still pressed down onto the mat, but my toes are pointed away now. Straight spine. Reach your hands out in front of you. Deep breath in at the top, and on the exhale, we're going to hinge at the hip. And hinge part way back, keep those arms straight out in front of you, and then sit back up. So we're never going to come all the way down to the floor. Keep those arms straight out in front of you. And keep your chest forward to help you keep your spine straight. Let's do a couple more. And come on up and reach all the way forward. Deep breath in, and on your exhale, see if you can forward fold just a little bit more. Right. And then I'm going to come on down onto the mat. My feet are about hip width apart, toes pointed straight down to the bottom of the mat. Hands are down by my sides. I like palms up here because I feel like it lets my chest open, my shoulders to relax. You can also have palms down if you feel like you need to be a little more grounded. And I'm going to take a moment, little rocking forward and back through my pelvis to feel my low back press down. And then allow it to arch up just a little bit. Press down. And then press that low back down into the mat. Pull your belly button down towards your spine, and you're going to hold there. Couple of deep breaths in, pushing that low back down into the mat. Feel your core engage. and bring your legs into tabletop. So knees are stacked right up over your hips. Shins are parallel to the floor, ankles flexed, toes pointed back towards you. Reach your hands up. So your hands are stacked right up over your shoulders, palms facing in. And keeping your hands right where they are, let's tap one heel down at a time. Keep the other one in the center. Low back, as always, is pressed down here. One more each side, low back press down. And back to center. And then let's go into some dead bugs. So opposite arm and leg are going to reach out. The other side is always going to stay in the center. So you're coming back to center in between. Reach out long, keeping one side in the center, back up, and opposites. So come back to the center first before you move on. One hand is always reached up overhead, the other stacked up over your shoulder. So you should never have a hand down by your side. One more each side. And hug everything into center. I'm going to open my hands out to about shoulder height. Down on the floor, palms down for grounding. Legs back into tabletop. And then drop both legs down to one side. My gaze turns in the opposite direction. Back up through the center. And out to the other side. I like to inhale through the center and exhale as I drop out to one side. Whatever you feel like allows you to have greater control of breath and movement, as long as you're not holding your breath. And last one. Back to center. Hugging both knees in. Raise your shoulders, your chest, and your head up off the mat. I like to think of raising them straight up to the ceiling rather than rolling up because it puts less strain on my neck. Extend the left leg out to 45 degrees. Toes pointed away. I'm hugging my right knee in. And inhale to switch. So you inhale to switch, exhale to pull that leg in. Last one. And release down onto the mat. Little side to side roll. And then hands down by your sides. Palms down for grounding here. And with your knees tucked in towards your chest, I want you to turn them just slightly. So now both of my knees are pointed up towards my right shoulder. My toes are pointed down towards the bottom left of my mat. So keeping that little twist through the torso, and extend my legs out and slightly down towards the left, and then bring the knees back up towards my right shoulder. So extending up and to the left, bring them back in towards the right shoulder. Low back press down here, so the twist that you have at the torso shouldn't be so much that you can't keep your low back still pressed down. Last one, up to the right shoulder, straight out and up to the left. And come back to center, hug your knees into the center. And then we do the other side. So again, my hands are out, palms down for grounding. Slight twist to the torso, knees up to my left shoulder, and then extend up and out to the right, back in, up to the left shoulder, extend out into the right. And one more. And back to center and hug your knees into the center. So we did our first single leg stretch before. We're going to go into our next single leg stretch, but with straight legs this time. So again, starting with knees tucked in, I'm going to raise my chest and shoulders up off the mat, and then extend the left leg out, and then extend the right leg straight up overhead, reaching up on my calves or pulling in on my hamstrings, just not directly behind the knee. Reach up, inhale to switch, exhale to pull that leg in for a stretch. One more each side. And release down. Hug those knees in. And then I'm going to bring both feet back down to the mat. Take a moment, find my imprint into the mat so my low back is pressed down. And then extend my right toes straight up, pointed up to the ceiling. Make sure that your core is engaged. Your upper body should be still on the mat and not wobbling as we start with some small circles up on the ceiling. So the movement comes all the way from the hip up. The ankle is still. Switch direction, little circles still. Switch direction, bigger circles. And core engagement, your upper body still on the mat. Switch direction with those big circles. And pause briefly in the center, and then I'm going to lower that right leg down. So my thighs are even with each other. My toes are pointed out to about 45 degrees. I find I have to kind of adjust a little bit through the pelvis to make sure that my low back is still pressed down here. And I'm going to do little circles from here. Toe pointed away, that right leg, the whole right leg is active. Reaching out. Straight knee and switch direction with those little circles. Switch direction, big circles all the way up, sweeping all the way down, making sure that your low back is pressed down throughout. And switch direction, big sweeping circles. And hug that right knee in towards your chest. And we switch sides. So my right foot is down, knee bent, left leg extends up overhead, toes pointed up, leg active, hands down by my sides, and I'm going to start with little circles on the ceiling. And again, core is activated. My upper body is pressed into the mat, not wobbling back and forth. And switch direction, little circles still. Switch direction, bigger circles. Make sure that low back is still pressed down, belly button still pulled down to your spine, and switch direction, bigger circles. And pause in the center and lower that left leg down. My thighs are even with each other, left toes pointed out to about 45 degrees. Adjust as needed to make sure that your low back is still pressed down. And then we draw little circles here. And switch, little circles still 45 degrees out from the floor. Switch direction, bigger circles, sweeping all the way up and then all the way down. And switch direction, big sweeping circles. And then hug that left knee in. And hug the right knee in. Little side to side roll. And we'll go into our double leg stretch. So hugging both knees in, raise your chest and shoulders straight up towards the ceiling. On your next inhale, you're going to reach out, hollow hold, hands and feet out opposite direction. Exhale. Sweep around, hug those knees in. Again, inhale, reach out. Exhale, hollow hold. Exhale, pulling in. You're going to hollow hold as you reach out. Low back press down. Exhale, hug everything in. Couple more of these. And last one. And release down onto the floor, a little side to side roll. And then we'll come up onto our sides. So I'm going to start with my torso at the back of my mat and feet come forward. So I'm in a little bit of a pike position, feet forward at the front of the mat, torso to the back. You can rest your head on your upper arm, so extend it all the way out, or bend your elbow, head in hand. Hips are stacked one over the other. Core is engaged. Raise that top leg up to hip height, toes pointed away, and we're going to do little circles again. Working to have your hips stacked one over the other. Switch direction, little circles. Switch direction, bigger circles. Working on core strength here. So your upper body isn't wobbling back and forth. It's not the counterbalance. And switch direction, big circles. And bring your feet back together. Again, raise that top leg up to hip height. Bring your knee forward. Sweep your foot forward and around for our bicycles. So working to keep the whole leg up at hip height. Nice, smooth, circular motion. And the next time you come around to the back, squeeze your heel in towards your bum, and then sweep from the back into the front. So we reverse direction every time, squeezing in that heel, sweeping from back to the front. Last one, big sweep through the back. And bring your feet back together. And now I'm going to bring my legs in line with my body. So straight line from head to heel. And raise and lower that top leg. I like to have ankle flexed on this one. So my toes are pointed back up towards my nose. And raise and lower. Two more. And then we'll go into some staggered kicks. So you're not going to raise that top leg up quite as high this time. Maybe halfway, even a quarter of the height that you were lifting it before. You'll raise it up. Your bottom leg will come up to meet and then lower them both down. So raise up, bottom leg comes up to meet, lower them both down. A lot of core strength and control here so that you don't tip over backwards. Well, if you do, it's okay. I certainly have. Nice and controlled. Last one. And then bring that top knee forward to rest on the mat in front of you. Your lower leg is extended out. Give it a little bit of a turn so your toe is down, your heel is up, and then raise and lower that leg. Make sure that your leg is straight, you're not just bending at the knee. And that little bit of rotation that you get makes it so that it's the inner thigh that's helping to raise and lower your leg. A little bit of adduction here. And then let's do 2 pulses at the top. So you raise it up, pulse, pulse, lower down. Raise up, pulse, pulse, and lower back down. Couple more. And lower down. Bring both knees forward. I'm going to keep that bend to my top knee. So keep that 90-degree bend to the knee and open the whole leg up at the hip like I'm opening up a book, and then back down. Keeping that bend to the knee. Last one. And then I'm going to add a rotation at the top. So open up that knee and then twist so that your foot is flat to the wall behind you. Knees back in line and back together. And again, raise up, flat foot to the wall behind you, back in line, back together. Last one. And then raise your feet up off the mat. Keep your feet locked together. And again, open and close that top knee. It's a variation on our clamshells. Try to keep your feet up and keep your feet together. Two more. And lower your feet down. And we're going to flip over and get the other side. So again, I'm going to start with my upper body at the back of the mat, feet forward to the front corner. Hips are stacked one over the other, torso is engaged. Raise that top leg up to hip height, toes pointed away, and we start with our little circles. Straight leg and toes pointed away. And switch direction. Switch direction, bigger circles. Upper body is engaged, core engaged, so that you're not wobbling back and forth on the mat. And switch direction. feet back together. And then we'll go into our bicycles. So again, I'm going to raise my top leg up to hip height, bring the knee forward, sweep from the front to the back, nice circular movement, nice smooth circular motion, pedaling through. And the next time you come around to the back, squeeze your heel in and then sweep from the back to the front. So we reverse direction, sweeping from the back to the front. Last one. And bring your legs in line with your torso. So straight line from head to heel. And we start with those leg lifts. Two more. And then staggered kicks, so not quite as high in that top leg, raising it up, bottom leg comes up to meet, and lower them both down. A little bit of a pause at the top, so when you bring those feet together, hold for just a moment, and then lower them both down, nice and controlled. Last one. And then bring that top knee forward to rest on the mat in front of you. Lower leg, you're going to turn it so that your toe is down, heel is up, and raise and lower. And then 2 pulses at the top and lower down. So raise up, pulse, pulse, and lower down. Last one. And lower down. And bring your knees forward. Keeping that bend to the top knee, that 90-degree bend. Open the whole leg up like a book and lower back down. Last one like this. And then the next one, you're going to open up like a book and then twist so that your foot is flat to the wall behind you. Knees back in line and back together. And again, raise up. Flat foot to the wall behind you. Back in line, back together. And we'll do a few more of those. Last one. And then raise your feet up off the mat. We're going to keep feet locked together and open and close that top knee. Keeping your feet up and keeping them locked together. Two more. Come on down. And I'm going to drop it back into a child's pose. Stretch those hips out. And you can reach fingertips forward or bring your hands back to your feet. Rest your forehead on the mat. And then we're going to come up onto all fours. Hands stacked under your shoulders, knees under your hips. Extend your right leg straight out behind you. Toe pointed away. I have to move forward so don't kick the wall. Toe pointed away, hip closed to the floor, and little taps down. So your spine should be neutral here. All of this movement is coming from the glutes. Gaze directly down onto the mat between your hands so that your cervical spine, your neck isn't moving. Last one. And then bring that knee in. And then push away with your heel. So you tuck that knee in towards your chest. Your ankle is flexed. You push away with your heel. And again, your gaze is right down on the mat in front of you so that your neck is not moving. Your head isn't moving at all through this. Two more. And then bring that knee in. Keep the bend to the knee. Flat foot on the ceiling. Back in. Flat foot on the ceiling. Pulling your belly button up towards the ceiling, towards your spine. Again, so this movement is coming from your glutes, not from the spine. Last one. All right, and I'm going to keep my right arm straight, drop down onto my left elbow. So I've just shifted, twisted a little bit through the torso. And again, open that right leg out like a book. Keep that bend to the knee. Two more. Back to center, drop it down into that child's pose, stretch those hips out. And we're going to do the other side. So again, come on up onto all fours, hands stacked hands stacked under your shoulders, knees stacked under your hips. Pull your belly button up towards your spine so that your low back is flat, and extend that left leg out behind you. Hips closed to the floor. You don't want your left hip opening out to the side. Toe pointed away, and little taps down to the floor. Really focus on squeezing the glutes for this movement. Belly button up towards the ceiling so that your low back is flat. Last one. then tuck the knee in and push away with your heel. Knee tucked in, push away with your heel. Gaze is right down on the mat between your hands. Your head shouldn't be moving. Ankle is flexed the whole time. So knee in and then push away with your heel. 2 more of these. And then bring that knee in. Keep the bend to the knee, flat foot on the ceiling. Bring the knee in again, flat foot on the ceiling. Two more. And then I'm going to come down onto my right elbow, straight left arm, and open the left hip up like a book. Last one. And sink it back one more time into that child's pose. And come on up onto your knees. Step forward with that right foot. Starting with your heel under your knee. Press your weight forward. Keep the heel down on the mat. And we're working to get the knee to come forward of the toes here. So this is actually working on ankle flexion and mobility. And come on up. Full extension of that right leg out in front of you. Hinge at the hip. Fingertips down to the mat. And come on up. And we switch sides. Step the left foot forward, starting with heel under the knee, hands to your knee, and then press your weight forward. Keep your heel down on the mat and working to get your knee to come forward of your toes. And come on up. Fully extend that left leg out in front of you and hinge at the hip, fingertips down to the mat. Come on up. And that's it for the day today. So thank you all so much for coming. Thank you for everyone joining us on Facebook this morning. We're doing Pilates again Thursday morning at 11 a.m. and Sunday morning, which I realize now is Easter Sunday. I'll be here anyway in case anyone wants to join before or after church. Which I guess is going to be streaming as well. So, but I'll be here. So hopefully you can join us at some point. The Facebook Live videos are always available afterwards as well. So for my Zoom folks, I'm going to unmute you in a second. I'm going to pause my videos and we can say our goodbyes for the day.